Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Community Development and Regulatory Services Committee for today, July 12th. We've been joined by Council Members Reich, Cano, and Quincy, which is a quorum of our committee. We have a number of items on consent this morning, including items 15, or this afternoon, 15 through 17. Are there any items anyone would like to pull for discussion? Councilmember Cano? No.
Just arranging my space.
So I'll move the consent agenda, items 15 through 17. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those items are approved. We have quite a lengthy public hearing agenda, but before the public hearing agenda, I wanted to ask Ms. Brennan if she wanted to come up and introduce a new staff person so that members of the committee would have an opportunity who didn't know her.
Great. Madam Chair, members of the committee, thank you. I would like to introduce our new manager of residential finance, Angie Skildum. Angie's first day was yesterday. She comes to us with over 20 years experience in the affordable housing industry, and we're really excited to have her on board. She also has a master's degree in regional planning from University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and she will be her unit, residential finance, as you know, oversees the Housing Trust Fund, tax credit, and other multifamily programs. So with that, I will let Angie say a few words.
Angie, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here. Very pleased to be part of the city team. 2 days in, it's going very well. I'm a resident of Councilmember Reich's ward, so it's exciting for me to be able to give back to the city. And there's really no place better in the region to be working on affordable housing issues in the city of Minneapolis. So pleased to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I'll just note, in the interest of full disclosure, that Councilmember Quincy and I have had the opportunity to work with Angie for me, almost 15 years when she was doing a similar job at the Family Housing Fund. So we were very happy with that change. Welcome aboard. We'll start with our public hearing agenda, starting with item number 1, which is a land sale at 2115 Bryant Avenue North. Ms. Shoquist, welcome.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm here before you today to request the approval of 4 land sales. The first land sale is 2115 Bryant Avenue North to Reliable Property Maintenance and Home Servicing LLC for its full use value of $10,000 as part of the Vacant Housing Recycling Program. I will note that I'm presenting for the Vacant Housing and Recycling Program Coordinator Roxanne Young-Kimball, who is currently out on maternity leave. Reliable proposes to convert this vacant duplex into a single-family home with 4 bedrooms, 2 baths to be sold to an owner-occupant in the Hawthorne neighborhood. The property was acquired from the state of Minnesota as tax forfeited land for $10,000. This is the only offer received after it was marketed on our Vacant Housing Recycling Program listserv of over 750 developers, homebuyers. The offer was evaluated for financial capacity and experience, and the scope of work and construction estimate met our Vacant Housing Recycling Program rehabilitation standards. Reliable has completed 13 rehab projects in the last 2 years, and this is their first in Minneapolis.
Are there any questions for Ms. Shoquist on item number 1? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing on item number 1, which is a land sale at 2115 Bryant Avenue North. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move approval of item 1, it's land sale.
Item number 1 has been moved for approval. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. On to item number 2, Ms. Shoquist.
We also request approval for the sale of 2101 Emerson Avenue North to A Vision LLC, who is in the audience here today, should there be any questions, for the full reuse value of $10,000 as part of the Vacant Housing Recycling Program. A Vision proposes to rehabilitate this vacant single-family home with a 5-bedroom, 3-bath home to be sold to an owner-occupant in the Jordan neighborhood. The property was acquired from the state of Minnesota as tax forfeited land for $10,000. This is one of 2 offers received after the home was marketed on our listserv, evaluated for financial capacity and experience, and the scope of work and construction estimate was found to meet our rehabilitation standards. The A Vision offers invest over $200,000 compared to the other offer made by Reliable to invest $80,000. CPED Construction Management staff supports the A-Vision offer as it shows a more comprehensive scope and expertise to rehabilitate this fire-damaged home on a prominent corner in the Jordan neighborhood on Emerson. A-Vision has successfully rehabilitated property in North Minneapolis before.
They have. How many other properties have they successfully rehabilitated? 8. And all of them sold to owner occupants? Awesome. Do you want to come up here and tell us how that's done? Just a few comments about what you're doing and how you're doing it, I think would be great for the committee to hear if you don't mind.
The Council Chair Bruce Barron speaking for A-Vision, which is a wholly owned company by me. I got active in the North Side back in 2008, bought a number of properties, and a couple years ago felt that the only change in the neighborhood was going to be if those of us that rent turn to those that want to own. And so we've been in that process, I'll call burning off the rental properties. But my vision when I bought the properties was that I would find something that I could live in or that somebody else would want to live in. And so what we've been doing is working with the contractor to bring our houses up to a standard that, as I mentioned, when we hit a price point that the sale is immediate. And we've been successful with that. And it's very exciting to see the happy faces at closing. Our effort here, this is the second one we're purchasing, or we're going to close on one up on Lindale.
We have one on Hillside that you might want.
That may be next. But the goal is to, as I've seen homes now worthy of investment and to be brought up to a standard that would attract anyone, that's the only way we promote change and development. And so we're excited to take on this project, which is a substantial project, but only in that there's just a lot to do. And it'll have new kitchen, a third floor. We'll have a huge master suite with a new bathroom. We'll fence off the yard, put security cameras and lighting. I've been a proponent of more cameras and more lighting in North for quite a while. And, do all LED and that sort of thing. But the real goal is to bring a product or a property that seems to have a lot of value to the neighborhood, as promoted by Councilman Yang and Commissioner Higgins, who know the background better than I. So we're not going to cheap it. We're not going to go wild, but if the thing doesn't sell, I'll move into it. So that's the
As
kind
you've
of
been known
product.
to do.
As I've been known to do, yes.
That's right.
So at
Thank
any rate, that's the project, and it's going to take a substantial investment, and I'm excited about what I think we can create.
Are there any questions for Mr. Barron? Seeing none, thank you very
Thank you.
much. I'll open the public hearing on item number 2, which is a land sale at 2101 Emerson Avenue North to A-Vision LLC. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move approval of the land sale for item number 2.
Item number 2 has been moved. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. We'll move on to item number 3. Ms. Sjoquist.
I'm also here before you today to request the approval for the sale of 1816 Queen Avenue North to PRG Incorporated for the full reuse value of $48,000. This is part of the vacant housing recycling program and part of the homeownership works program. PRG proposes to rehab this vacant single-family home with 4 bedrooms and 3 baths to be sold to an owner-occupant in the Willard Hay neighborhood. The property was acquired from the state of Minnesota as tax-forfeited land for $50,000. This is the only offer received after advertisement to qualified developers within the Homeownership Works program. The property was originally constructed by Dream Homes Builders with unmarketable design and was specifically included in the HOW program to improve the livability of the home and the quality of the design of the home. We are confident that PRG Incorporated will do this as they have years of successful development experience in partnership with the city in the HOW and many other programs.
I'm just wondering if you could show the picture of 3015 Morgan that they had done. This is a beautiful renovation. Yeah, PRG. No, I don't want to see the DreamWorks home. That scares me. just as an example of the work PRG is doing in terms of rehabilitation. Yeah, it's like night and day.
And PRG, who is also in the audience here today, is one of our developers that has participated in the vacant housing recycling program, and this just shows what a valuable program this is to the city and our neighborhoods.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Shoquist on item number 3? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing on item number 3, which is a sale at 1816 Queen Avenue North to PRG. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move approval of the land sale for item number 3.
Item number 3 has been moved for approval. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. On to item number 4, Ms. Shoquist.
And for the final request for approval under the vacant housing recycling program for today is 3515 Girard Avenue North to SP Homes LLC for the full reuse value of $20,000. SP Homes proposes to rehab this vacant single-family home with 4 bedrooms, 2 baths to be sold to an owner-occupant in the Falwell neighborhood. The property was acquired from the state of Minnesota as tax-forfeited land for $5,000. This is the only offer received after it's been marketed on our listserv, evaluated for financial capacity and experience, and the scope of work and construction estimate was found to meet our rehab guidelines. The SP Homes managing partner is Gan Ram, who has experience as a general contractor as part of several city-funded rehab projects in the past, and this will be his first project as developer under the vacant housing recycling program.
Are there any questions for Ms. Shoquist on item number 4? Seeing none, thank you for your report. We'll open up the public hearing on item number 4, which is a land sale at 3515 Girard Avenue North. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move approval of this item.
Approval has been moved of item number 4. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. We'll then move on to our License and Consumer Services public hearing agenda, starting with item number 5. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a Sidewalk Cafe application by a new business known as La La Homemade Ice Cream, 3146 Hennepin Avenue South. This is in the 10th Ward in the Echo neighborhood. This is a C1 zoned parcel. This will be a small cafe on the public right-of-way with 2 tables and 8 seats. They intend to be open from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. During the week, and Friday and Saturday until 11 p.m. The design of this cafe was approved by our Public Works Transportation Department. A public hearing is required. We did notify all residents and property owners within 300 feet. We received 3 responses from that notification process, and all are in support, including 1 letter from the East Calhoun Community Organization supporting this application. Staff's recommendation is today that you approve this application.
Are there any questions on item number 5 for staff? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing on item number 5, which is a new license for La La Homemade Ice Cream. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll move approval of item number 5.
Item 5 has been moved for approval. Further comments and questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. On to item number 6, Mr. Wilson.
Madam Chair, we have an application by an existing restaurant, Muddy Waters, at 2933 Lindale to add a sidewalk cafe and to expand their liquor premises to that sidewalk cafe. They currently have an on-sale liquor license with Sunday sales Class E, and they have been licensed at this location since February of 2011. They're in the 10th Ward in the Whittier neighborhood, and they are Zone C3A. The design of their sidewalk cafe was again approved by our Public Works Transportation Division. They will have 12 tables and 24 seats. We notified all residents and property owners within 300 feet of the business. We received no responses for or against this application. They seem to meet all of our requirements, and staff's recommendation is approval.
Are there any questions for Mr. Wilson on item number 6? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing on item number 6, which is an application for an expansion of premise. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll move approval for item number 6.
Item number 6 has been moved. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. We'll move on to item number 7. Mr. Wilson.
Madam Chair, item number 7 and item number 8 are gas stations that sit across the street from each other at the intersection of 60th and Penn Avenue South. They are owned by the same group and applied for extended hours licenses at the same time. I might combine my report a little bit because these two stations are situated identically. At 6004 Penn Avenue South, we have an application by Crosstown Quick and Serve for an extended hours license to allow 24-hour unattended gasoline sales. Their normal hours of operation with an attendant operation are 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. 7 days a week, and this is in the 13th Ward in the Armitage neighborhood. Unattended gasoline sales are allowed in Minneapolis and in the state of Minnesota if the station has the appropriate safety equipment. They have emergency shut-off valves, they have emergency signage, they have emergency call buttons and things like that. Both this station and the next item are all in compliance with all of those safety features. So with respect to Crosstown Quick and Serve at 6004 Penn, we did notify all residents and property owners within 300 feet. We received 3 responses. 1 was in support and 2 were opposed. In reviewing those that are opposed, they indicate they're concerned that there could be additional traffic noise, additional lighting, or possible loitering. Our review of this application finds that it meets all of the requirements of our code, and staff's recommendation is to approve.
Are there any questions for Mr. Wilson on items number 7 and 8? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing on items number 7 and 8, which is an extended hours license for Crosstown Quick Service and Penn Minco. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a quick question, if I may, first, for Mr. Wilson. This is for an annual, if it were granted these extended hours, could they be reviewed in a subsequent period next year, for example, to see how things worked, or is there any reason that we would change those or add these to conditions?
Madam Chair, Councilmember Quincy, yes, this is an annual license that gets reviewed annually for all our extended hours licenses. So if there were issues that we observed during the year, we could bring them back to you.
That's helpful for me. I know this is a concern of neighbors often when something is different and unknown, but I've seen this work in a number of neighborhoods, including my own, so I don't have any concern with it, but I want to make sure that the neighbors have a feeling of comfort, and if it is an issue, that it'll be addressed at that time. So with those kind of understanding of that, I'd be happy to move approval of both items 7 and 8 for approval.
Items 7 and 8 have been moved for approval. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those items are approved. We'll move on to item number 9, which is a review requirement for alcohol licenses under Business Made Simple. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This item, I would request that the committee return it to staff for additional work. We originally posted this in Finance and Commerce, our official newspaper, for a public hearing today. We discovered some technical issues with the ordinance and asked that it be returned to staff. And so we did not notify our full complement of community engagement partners like the liquor industry and neighborhoods and business associations. So I would recommend that since the public hearing was noticed in Finance and Commerce, see if anybody came to speak today. If not, I would recommend that you return it to staff.
Okay, I know everyone in the room, so I don't think it's possible that anyone could be here, but I'll open the public hearing on item number 9 and see if there's anyone here to speak to this issue. Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and move to return this to staff. Are there any comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. We'll then move on to our remaining public hearing item in this set, which is item number 10.
Chair Goodman, members of the committee. I'm Kim Keller from Regulatory Services, and I'm here this afternoon to give you a very short staff report on 2 cleanup ordinance changes within Title 12, Chapter 244. The first change relates to door closing devices and fire-resistant doors. Due to a typo, the incorrect section of the Minnesota Building Code was referenced, and that is being corrected. The second change corrects an inadvertent disconnection that occurred during the plain language charter revision. Chapter 4, Section 16 no longer exists in the charter, therefore the reference is being removed and replaced by the language in the ordinance in front of you. I'm available if there are questions about either of these changes.
Are there any questions for Ms. Keller on these actually ordinance changes? Seeing none, thank you for your report. We'll open the public hearing on item number 10, which is changes to the door closing devices and licensing standards ordinance. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Madam Chair, thank you. I'd like to move approval of item number 10.
Item number 10 has been moved for approval. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved. We will then move on to our quasi-judicial public hearings. In Councilmember Fry's absence, I'll also chair that portion of the committee, and we will turn it over to Mr. Fussy.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. Although it appears as if we may not have any appellants or license holders here for these 4 matters, I'll address them briefly. I'd like to take, or staff to take the first item, number 11, initially, because that's kind of a separate creature. We should let you know that that is based upon a state statute, and we're under the auspices of that statute, and that has to do with tax clearance issues. And it appears that this licensee, we've been notified by the State Department of Revenue, has a rather large outstanding delinquent tax obligation that they have not fulfilled. And according to Minnesota Statute 270C.72, the city is required to revoke that license unless the license holder provides a tax clearance certificate. So therefore, the only relevant issues in this proceeding from the staff level would be to address whether the proper notices were sent, and then should there be a representative from the license holder, whether they have obtained the requisite tax clearance certificate. If that is not the case and the notices have been properly sent, then it is incumbent upon this committee and the council to revoke the license. And so I'd ask Mr. Wilson to address the matter briefly.
Madam Chair, we did receive a notice of requirement to revoke a tobacco dealer's license for unpaid sales tax collection for Golden Leaf Limited. We received that on June 13th. We did send certified notice to this tobacco dealer, Golden Leaf Limited, on the 28th of June. We have been in contact with Mr. Harlan, the owner, since that time. We have also been in touch with the Minnesota Department of Revenue as late as this morning, and there's no indication that a tax clearance certificate has been issued today or prior to this being issued for this debt. And staff would recommend that we revoke this license.
Are there any questions for staff on item number 11? Seeing none, this is a public hearing considering the revocation of the tobacco dealer's license held by Golden Leaf, doing business as Golden Leaf due to outstanding taxes. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move the revocation of the tobacco dealer's license in item number 11.
On the motion to approve the staff recommendation, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. We'll move on to item number 12, which is a rental license dwelling revocation. Nick, welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair Goodman and committee members. I'm Nick Magrino from Regulatory Services. We have 3 different properties up today. The first is the property at 1305, 1307 Washington Street Northeast, which is a duplex. Both units in the structure are rentals. The respondent in this matter, Helena Atwell, is the owner of record and obtained the current rental license to operate the property as a rental business in March of 2008. It Mrs. Atwell first obtained a rental license in July of 1993. On March 9th, 2016, Minneapolis Police Department investigators served a search warrant at the property, and while at the property, they recovered narcotics, specifically methamphetamine. On March 10th, 2016, a first notice of conduct on licensed premises was sent to Ms. Atwell. The notice informed Ms. Atwell that the March 9th incident was in violation of Minneapolis Code of Ordinances 244-2020A3, which prohibits the unlawful sale or possession of controlled substances. The notice instructed Ms. Atwell to submit a written management plan within 10 days and return it to the crime prevention specialist, Mr. Luther Kruger, per MCO 244-2020C. That notice also stated that failure to submit the written management plan may result in the City Council taking action to deny, refuse to renew, revoke, or suspend the rental license for the property. Ms. Atwell failed to submit a written management plan, and on May 2nd, 2016, an administrative citation in the amount of $250 was issued. That administrative citation also noted the continued requirement to submit a written management plan. On May 10th, 2016, no written management plan had been submitted, and a notice of revocation was sent to Ms. Atwell at her contact address of record, 1435 6th Street Northeast, via U.S. and certified mail. The notice was not returned by the Postal Service. The notice was also posted on the rental property, giving the owner 15 days to file an appeal. The owner did not appeal the revocation action, and at this time, the city is requesting revocation of the license, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions with regard to this application? Thank you for your report. We'll open the public hearing on item number 12, which is a rental license revocation at 1307 Washington Street Northeast. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move the staff recommendation of the license revocation.
Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item has been approved. We'll then move on to item number 13. Mr. Magrino.
The second property today is also a duplex. It's located at 3140, 3142 Pillsbury Avenue, and both units in the structure are rental units. The respondent in this matter, C. Earl Grant, is the owner of record and obtained a license to operate the property as a rental business in January of 2016. Mr. Grant has a rental history on the property going back to March 1995. On March 2nd, 2016, the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office served a search warrant at the property, and while at the property, the sheriff's deputies recovered narcotics, specifically methamphetamine. On March 3rd, 2016, a first notice of conduct on licensed premise was sent to Mr. Grant, and that notice informed Mr. Grant that the March 2nd, 2016 incident was in violation of MCO 244-2020A3, which prohibits the unlawful sale or possession of controlled substances. The notice instructed Mr. Grant to submit a written management plan within 10 days and return it to the crime prevention specialist, Mr. Luther Kruger, per MCO 244-20C. That notice also stated that failure to submit the written management plan may result in the City Council taking action to deny, refuse to renew, revoke, or suspend the rental license for the property. Mr. Grant failed to submit a written management plan, and on May 2nd, 2016, an administrative citation in the amount of $250 was issued. The administrative citation also noted the continued requirement to submit a written management plan. On May 9th, 2016, no written management plan had been submitted, and a notice of revocation was sent to Mr. Grant at his contact address of record, a post office box at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, via U.S. and certified mail. The notice was not returned by the post office. The notice was also posted on the rental property, giving the owner 15 days to file an appeal, and the owner did not appeal the revocation action. The city is requesting revocation of the license, and at this time, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions for staff on item number 13? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing on item number 13, which is a rental license revocation at 3140, 3142 Pillsbury Avenue South. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move the approval for the staff recommendation.
The staff
item 13.
recommendation has been moved. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. On to our remaining and last item, Mr. Magrino.
This one is a little bit different. It involves a property at 2112 Harriet Avenue, a legal duplex. The respondent in this matter, Lee Glazinski, is the owner of record and obtained a license to operate the property as a rental business in April of 2001. On September 30th, 2015, housing inspections conducted a routine rental licensing inspection at the property, and the inspector found that the duplex had an illegal third unit in the attic. On October 1st, 2015, a written letter of violation was issued, advising that Lee Glazinski either discontinue using the space as a third unit, using it in conjunction with the second floor unit, legalize the third unit, or add the space as an accessory dwelling unit to the duplex. On December 11th, 2015, a reinspection letter was sent advising that the inspector would be conducting a reinspection of the property on January 6th, 2016. Lee Glazinski or a representative did not appear for the appointment, nor did they advise the inspector that they would be unable to attend. On January 14th, 2016, a second reinspection letter was sent advising that the inspector would be conducting a reinspection of the property on January 5th, 2016. Lee Glazinski or a representative did not appear for the appointment, nor did they advise the inspector that they would be unable to attend. On February 5th, 2016, a director's determination of noncompliance was issued to Lee Glazinski, notifying them of their failure to comply with MCO 244-1910A8, which is the failure to allow an inspection on the premise. The notice also stated that failure to comply may result in the City Council taking action to deny, refuse to renew, revoke, or suspend the rental license for the property. On February 5th, 2016, a third reinspection letter was sent advising that the inspector would be conducting a reinspection of the property on February 19th, and Lee Glazinski or their representative did not appear for the appointment or advise the inspector they would be unable to attend. On March 9th, 2016, a notice of revocation was sent to Lee Glazinski at their contact address of record, which is Unit 2 of the property in question, via U.S. and certified mail. The notice was not returned by the post office. The notice was also posted on the rental property, giving the owner 15 days to file an appeal, and they did not appeal the revocation action. On May 6, 2016, a fourth reinspection letter was sent advising that the inspector would be conducting a reinspection on May 25, 2016, and Lee Glazinski or their representative were not present, nor did they advise the inspector that they would be unable to attend. So the city is requesting revocation of a license, and at this time I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions for staff on item number 14? Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of clarifying questions. Is this the rental license for the entire building, not just for the one unit that's out of compliance?
Chair Goodman, Councilmember Quincy, in this case, one of the units is occupied by the owner, so the rental license would just be for that specific unit.
Okay, thank you. Helps answer that.
Are there any other questions for staff? Seeing none, thank you for your report. We'll open the public hearing on item number 14, which is a license revocation at 2112 Harriet Avenue South. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll move the staff recommendation for item number 14.
Item number 14 has been moved. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That item is approved. Seeing no further business before us, we are adjourned.